I had sources in LeBron James camp literally tell me, and I'm quoting Charles, if Kyrie Irving was in front of LeBron James right now, LeBron James would be tempted, quote, to beat his end quote.
Things are descending into complete and utter chaos, Robin.
As they say in the pro wrestling business just picked up right
yeah,
there.
I guess so. Never heard of LeBron James wanting to beat anyone else's you-know-what, but apparently he's that upset with Kyrie Irving. Hey, welcome to SI Now. It's Tuesday, July 25th. I am Maggie Gray alongside Robin Lundberg. I mean, this is just pure madness, but does it make you wonder if LeBron and Kyrie, who's requested a trade, if they can ever play together ever again?
It seems untenable now. Like before, Kyrie didn't have any leverage because he has no trade clause, right? So they could send him wherever they want. So you think, okay, let it cool down a little bit, let it simmer down, let's go for another run. But if Kyrie is accusing LeBron of leaking this, if LeBron is genuinely that upset, because let's unpack the comment for a second. We don't know if it's true, but let's just say that is what was said. That could be a way to say, hey, he's really upset. But if it's actually even further true, where he does want to lay hands on him, I mean, it indicates that LeBron was surprised, and it indicates that he feels a little bit of betrayal because maybe he thought Kyrie was a guy that he put under his wing and that he allowed to fly on his own, too. Yeah,
it would be a little ironic, though, if LeBron is worried about betrayal, considering there's been rumors that he's going to leave Cleveland next year, and he's done nothing to quell those rumors whatsoever. I think this could be a little of LeBron James obviously being upset, but I think they want to speed the timeline up here because I think that this situation is descending a bit into total chaos. I think it's going to be very hard to put the genie back in the bottle here and have these guys be on the same court. We've seen drama in Cleveland. This is just ratchet to a whole new height for sure. You know, look back and thinking back through the years, you know, the Shaq and Kobe situation, which eventually had to lead to Shaq leaving LA. And you had Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett. And really, what was at the base of all of those, you know, disagreements rather than arguments and why the situations couldn't work? Ultimately, ego. And I think that ego is not the one thing, it's the only thing that's going on in between LeBron James and Kyrie Irving in this power struggle, that they don't have a strong general manager or owner who can quell this situation. So I see it going the way of Shaq and Kobe and Steph and KG, and I think they're headed for a split.
Yeah, if you talk about the ego, I mean, the way it's being framed, it seems like Kyrie's ego has run amok because he gets to take those big shots on this team that's winning. He really wants a different situation than that. I would understand it more if he was actually, or his side was talking about the instability of the organization, because that's why you have to hurry up a trade. You don't know what LeBron's going to do, so you have to get as competitive as possible right now. Kyrie, he's used Mamba mentality in the past, so maybe he wants to be a Kobe, but there are a lot of people out there scared he's more of a Marbury.
That's really interesting because, yes, I think that if Kyrie was saying, listen, who knows what's going to happen once LeBron James leaves? Why am I the one who has to stay and maybe sweep up the after party while everyone else is out in Los Angeles having a good time? And he's not saying that. He's just basically saying, the reports are, I don't want to play in his shadow, which makes it totally different. You know, he already has one title. He is 25 years old. He's making all-star teams, but if he is not getting the other recognition that he thinks he deserves in terms of all NBA teams and things like that, then I think it is coming down to ego. I mean, he does have the Nike deal. He's got a great shoe deal. I don't know what else and what more he would want. He's out on the biggest stage every year also by going to the finals. It's crazy. Anyway, we're streaming on Facebook Live, so we want to know from you, where do you want to see Kyrie end up? Let us know by commenting. Of course, this one comes in from Gene. Great name. Love that. He says, Kyrie helps the league in his super team era. If he wants to leave, he wants his own legacy, isn't settling for being a sidekick. Robin, do you see maybe Kyrie wanting to leave LeBron as something that helps the league?
I think when you distribute the talent, it can help. The problem with that theory is Kyrie good enough to elevate another team to the status that you need that team to be at for it to be interesting? And does Kyrie leaving bring the Cavs down, where we talk about the Warriors inevitably winning the championship? Sure. Well, if Cleveland is severely weakened, then it really feels like a fait accompli.
I think weirdly, I think that the league likes super teams a lot. I mean, you think back to what we've called like the golden era of the NBA.
They've always had super teams. Bill Russell, we talk about winning every ring forever.
Showtime, Lakers, Celtics. I think that the league actually likes dynasties because the thing, and let's actually, maybe we have to just put this offseason aside because, the Warriors and what they've been doing has created this arms race. But for the most part, the teams that are really, really good get the attention and the teams that are really, really bad get the attention. Those are the most interesting, that's the interesting dichotomy.
You don't want to be the Detroit Pistons.
Well, depends, right? I mean, 04 Pistons, maybe.
Well, I mean, the current
Pistons is not a good situation. I don't think you want to be the current Trailblazers. You don't want to be right in the middle. Maybe Trailblazers are above the middle, but you don't want to be stuck in the mediocrity because that's when you have to end up giving out a lot of bad contracts. You end up overpaying for guys, and you're not high enough in the lottery to get any legitimate talent in the draft, or at least not legitimate talent, but people that can help you right away.
That was what the whole Philadelphia process was about.
Exactly. We're going to keep your comments on Facebook Live coming. We're going to get to some potential Kyrie trades in just a moment, but we have some news.
Derrick Rose, he agreed to a one-year deal for $2.1 million with the Cavs. Who would have thought $2.1 million if you'd asked
Seems
2
low.
years ago? Can he actually replace Kyrie, Maggie?
No, absolutely not. I mean, you look at the numbers, and obviously Kyrie Irving is much better in every statistical category. His ability to even shoot threes. Rose 30% three-point shooter, just not good. Kyrie's a better ball handler. He's a better distributor. He's better finisher at the rim. You don't have to worry that it might skip town without telling you. Maybe that's part of it as well. And I think what the Cavs are looking for with this Derrick Rose signing or with signing any guard at this point, right, is they want backups. Like this is what LeBron was talking about all last year. This leads to them signing Darren Williams, who was terrible, but for them. But I don't see how Derrick Rose is giving you that durability. Like if you're the second half of the season and you want LeBron James to get rest and you want, well, who knows if Kyrie Irving's going to be on the team, but if you want your guys to be able to rest, Derrick Rose has a knee injury that he's coming off of now. And yes, he did play over 30 minutes last year, but he only played in 62 games. So I don't see him being able to replace Kyrie. And honestly, I don't see him doing a really great job of filling a need here for the Cavs. That's me.
I can't be mad at the salary. I mean, he's worth probably more than the salary. I really didn't mind it when I thought he would be coming off the bench for them and doing the one thing he still does well, which is driving a straight line. But as a Kyrie replacement, no way, no how. He really can't even play off LeBron very well either because he doesn't shoot the ball well from the outside. He tends to have blinders on when he drives, and he's not a very good defensive player.
We see you out here commenting on Facebook. I like this one. What are the chances Irving ends up at the Knicks? Hold tight. We are going to get to that. Another comment that just says, send him to Europe.
Wow.
Already?
Really mad, yeah.
Already? All he did was request a trade, guys. All right, with Kyrie's trade requests swirling, we have a few ideas on trades that could be on the table. It's time for our hypothetical trade machine, all Kyrie Irving edition. The director of our SI Wire, our resident trade guru, is here. He's got 5 Kyrie trades. He's going to pose them to Robin and I guess we're playing judge, jury, and executioner here today. Alex, what's your first Kyrie trade in our hypothetical segment?
All right, guys, thank you for having me. Thank you for indulging all my various fake trades. The first one, we'll get right into it. Everyone has speculated about this. It was reported that this trade was discussed in some form before the draft. It would be sending Kyrie Irving to the Suns to pair him with Devin Booker in the backcourt, and in return, the Cavs would get Eric Bledsoe and Josh Jackson, the number 4 pick from this year. What do you guys think?
My first gut reaction is this isn't enough. I don't know if this is going to be enough. I think that the Cavs are going to be looking for more return on Kyrie. That's my initial reaction.
I kind of agree. I think they could be using more depth to come in on this trade. But as far as the base, the foundation of the trade, I like it because Bledsoe can take that spot as long as he can stay healthy. He's a heck of an athlete. And then we know Jackson was just picked near the top of the draft.
Yeah, Bledsoe is good. But remember, Wiggins was taken number 1, and LeBron didn't want to play with him. So we don't like – I know LeBron doesn't love to play with guys who have no experience. Some experience, yes. No experience, no. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
It's a great trade. What the Cavs really need to do is slow down the Warriors. I'm not worried about the Cavs outscoring the Warriors in a final. Surrounded LeBron with shooting, and you're always going to be able to score, but they just had no answer for the perimeter scoring that the Warriors have. Bledsoe's an excellent defender. Josh Jackson should be an excellent defender right away, even if his offensive game is a little bit raw. I think that they can both help right now.
I think Josh Jackson, though, it would be good for him to play, I think, with LeBron and on a contender because there were a couple red flags and character concerns concerns with him at Kansas, and that's, an adjustment he's going to have to make to life in the NBA. What is trade number 2?
So one of the 4 teams that Kyrie put on his preferred destinations was the Heat, so let's try and get him to Miami. So this trade sends Kyrie to Miami in exchange for Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, and either Josh Richardson or Bam Adebayo.
Very similar to the last trade. I mean, it addresses the needs the Cavs have. The Cavs really need some depth on the wing, and this would bring Winslow in who can defend on those spots. And they're going to need a Kyrie replacement, and Goran Dragic is at least an above-average starting point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, Bam Adebayo, obviously, same concern that I just said with Josh Jackson, the young guy. I don't know, too young maybe for LeBron James. I wonder how much the league is looking at Justice Winslow and being curious about his injury and wondering whether or not what he's going to look like now coming back from that injury. If maybe his stock was so high last offseason, I don't know if it's lowered any right now, but I think this is a more even trade than that Suns trade, in my opinion. What do you think of this one, Alex?
Well, remember that Justice Winslow is talked about as a potential top 3 pick in his draft.
Sure.
The Celtics supposedly offered 4 first-round picks, including maybe one of the Nets picks, to the Hornets to move up and take him, and the Hornets said no. So people really value Justice Winslow very highly when he came into the league. He's had a tough couple of seasons, but if he is still that player, if he can get to that potential, that's the exact kind of wing defender that the Cavs need.
Okay, what's trade number 3 in your hypotheticals?
Okay, I love this trade. No one is talking about this team. Zach Lowe reported last week that the Utah Jazz had been sniffing around Kyrie for a couple of years, so we're going to send Kyrie to Utah. This deal sends Kyrie to Utah, and also Iman Shumpert's contract gets dumped on the Jazz. In return, the Cavaliers get Ricky Rubio, Summer League super-duper star Donovan Mitchell,
yes,
and clutch scorer ISO Joe Johnson. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, you're going to have to run this by Joe Johnson. I don't think he has a no-trade clause, but when he had the option of being traded from Brooklyn to either Cleveland or Miami, Cleveland was definitely going to the finals and ended up winning that year, and he definitely chose Miami. So I'm a little concerned. Maybe Joe Johnson's like allergic to Ohio or something, doesn't want to be there. I think that would probably be it. And I don't know if I agree before that you said basically that the Cavs are only looking for defenders and they can put LeBron around shooters. I think they want scoring out of that point guard position. That's why they love Kyrie, I think, and Ricky Rubio is a self-check.
This is probably my least favorite of the trades. Joe Johnson probably went from overrated to underrated at some point in his career, but he's still old at this point. And Ricky Rubio, he has a lot of flaws like a Derrick Rose. He's a little bit better at this point in his career, a better defender, but he can't shoot from the outside. And you've mentioned before, surrounding LeBron with shooting is the ultimate blueprint. So I don't think this trade answers their wing needs as much, and I don't think it answers the shooting needs.
Why was this your favorite?
Well, first of all, Donovan Mitchell's going to the Hall of Fame, clearly.
Okay.
There's that.
Love summer league overreaction.
But there is some fit issues with Rubio and his lack of shooting, or somewhat lack of shooting. He picked it up a little bit last year. We'll see if that was a fluke. But you put Rubio and LeBron on the floor at the same time, and that's 2 of the 5 or 6 best passers in the NBA.
Sure.
That opens up some lanes, some little nooks and crannies that, shooting normally opens up. So is it the perfect fit? Maybe not, but I would just really want to see what would happen with those 2 savant passers together.
Yeah, I mean, J.R. Smith would love this. It's just getting passes for all over the court. You can jack them from everywhere. Okay, let's go trade number 4 for Kyrie Irving. These are fake ones with Alex Hampl.
All right, this one was a bit of a screwball. No one has mentioned the Clippers as a possible destination, but I am. So Kyrie's going to the Clippers. Again, the Cavs are getting out of Iman Shumpert's deal. He's going with Kyrie to L.A. In return, the Cavaliers get Pat Beverly and DeAndre Jordan. And one note, this trade couldn't be completed until August 27th. So everyone has a month to think about it.
Is this Jerry West? This is the big move that Jerry West is going to make now that he's running the Clippers. First, Chris Paul trading him out of town, and then turning Patrick Beverly into Kyrie Irving. Not terrible. I don't know if I do this if I'm the Cavs, though. That's what I'm worried about. DeAndre Jordan, I'm not high on because you can't have him on the floor at the end of games because he's such a bad free throw shooter. I love Pat Beverly because you love the defense. But I don't know if the Cavs will think this is enough.
Pat Beverly would fit in very well. My problem isn't DeAndre Jordan the player. It's DeAndre Jordan the fit, because he and Tristan Thompson are very redundant. I don't know how you can't play them together, that's for sure. So I think if this were to happen, you'd have to figure out a way to flip Thompson for some more of the depth at the 2-3 positions.
Maybe this is veteran front office savant Jerry West taking advantage of a new and first-time general manager, perhaps. Why do you like this one, Alex?
Well, like we've been talking about, Beverly provides that perimeter defense. He fits in perfectly next to LeBron. He does not need the ball in his hands. He's a good spot-up shooter off the ball, so he does all those things well. Jordan is, I mean, come on, he's an all-NBA center. Everyone kind of overlooks him. He was an all-NBA first-team center 2 years ago.
Starting center on Team USA.
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, which like his game does not suit the international game in any way, shape, or form. He just has a super team around him. Okay.
So are you really bumping an all-NBA level center for Tristan Thompson? Is that what the Cavs are deciding at this point?
I mean, don't they still owe Thompson a ton of money? I don't know. I think that's going to be a hard contract to move. Yep. I don't know. And also, Thompson just didn't look good in the finals. 2 finals ago, he looked good. This finals, not so much. All right, your 5th trade, your hypothetical. This is a 3-teamer.
All right, this is a 3-teamer. Another one of Kyrie's preferred destinations was the Spurs, so we're getting him there. Kyrie is going to the Spurs along with some salary cap filler from the Cavs. In exchange, the Cavs are getting Eric Bledsoe again and Danny Green, and the Suns are coming away from this with LaMarcus Aldridge.
I think Greg Popovich would love this. I think that the Spurs would be all over this. Again, I'm just wondering if this is enough to get back for the Cavs. I understand you have Danny Green, great three-point shooter, 3-and-D guy, and then Bledsoe, who we talked about before. But I'm still thinking that the Cavs, and maybe this is a pipe dream, but I think that they want to not only get people who can play now and can fit a need, but I think they want future things too to guard against LeBron James leaving them next year.
That's what I would be looking at. And if I'm moving Kyrie, I'm also moving Kevin Love. It's time to shift LeBron James up to the power forward spot, the 4 position, so he can play there. It has a similar theme to a lot of the trades where I like the base pieces. I just would want a little bit more. But we had the Facebook comment. What about the Knicks? Can they get involved in here? What if they shipped Carmelo, Courtney Lee, Frank, who they drafted, and this year's first-round pick? Would that be enough to get it done?
Well, if they did that, they would also have to take on a lot of salary. Carmelo's a big salary. Courtney Lee is making $12 million a year, so they would also have to take on probably Tristan Thompson's deal in that trade.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson and Kristaps Porzingis next to each other doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't think the Knicks, I mean, I don't know what their outlook is. I don't know what their expectation is for this year. I mean, I think obviously they want to get rid of Melo. That's number one. They want to trade him out and get as much value back for him as possible. I think Kyrie does that for you, even if you end up having to take on a bad contract. I don't know. I like that one.
But do the Cavs do that? Does it make the Cavaliers any better?
That Knicks pick could be a top 5 pick in the draft.
I know. The one thing about that, though, is I think that LeBron, not that he's going to be vetoing trades, but I think he would probably say no to that because I don't think a Courtney Lee is enough right now, and we don't know what French Frank is going to be. I don't think that's enough to satisfy LeBron where he says, okay, I feel like now I can go to battle with the Warriors because I got Courtney Lee with me.
So where is Melo going to wind up? I mean, we keep looking, we keep searching. Bill Simmons reports that Oklahoma City and Carmelo have mutual interest. Basketball-wise, I think this is actually a very good fit, but it kind of runs contrary to everything we've ever heard about Melo's preferences lifestyle-wise.
Yeah, I know Lala and him are on the rocks, but I don't know what she would have to say about OKC, one of the smallest markets, obviously, in the NBA. Maybe it's a lot more enticing because Paul George is there, but we know that he's likely only there for a year. I mean, he told our own Lee Jenkins that the bar is set at Western Conference Finals or beating the Warriors. I mean, hat tip to you if you feel like you have the team. If you have Melo, though, and you also have Paul George and you have Russell Westbrook, I mean, that's a hell of a team, Hampl.
Well, there's 2 problems here. One is just assets. What are the Knicks getting back in this? Is it enough to just get Enes Kanter and maybe a very late first-round pick? Because that's basically what it would have to be. They're going to have to take back some salary to match Melo. Kanter has a big contract, and he has several years left on his contract. Is he a good enough player that the Knicks would feel comfortable with that? Can you play him with Porzingis? Is it worth picking up the 25th or 26th pick in the first round to take on Kanter's contract? I don't know about that. So I'm not sure how the deal works in that sense. And then the other thing is the fit on the court.
Yeah.
Melo to the Thunder would mean that either he or Paul George basically has to play the 4 full time, and both of them have been tried out at the 4, and they both hated it. Neither of them want to do it, and one of them would have to start at the 4.
But that's where Melo plays his best. I mean, when they won 54 games, that's where Carmelo Anthony was playing. So some of these guys, they need a coach. You know, we talk about managing egos who says, hey, this is where you're going to be. Deal with it.
Okay, well, that would be Billy Donovan in this case. But I just wonder, Paul George didn't choose to play with Russell Westbrook. He's putting on a very brave face about this, is saying it's going to be great, saying he's going to give Oklahoma City a real chance. He's going to give them a real look. But that would mean I guess Melo would be choosing Oklahoma City, but I haven't seen one superstar who's chosen to play with Russell Westbrook. And I don't know if Carmelo Anthony, who likes to take a lot of his shots as well, I don't know if he looks at Russ and says, this is ideal.
Yeah, he's not like Paul George, where he plays off the ball quite as naturally. You know, he wants that play at the end of the game where it's Melo holds jab step, 18-footer.
Right.
But when we referenced the Olympics earlier, Euro Melo, whatever you want to call him.
Sure.
He was always great in those situations when he's playing that stretch four and he's catch and shoot,
That's true.
catch and drive. So maybe, just maybe, he's gotten to the point in his career where he sees his career mortality and he's ready to make that shift.
Okay, let's all do a show of hands here as we wrap up this trade conversation. Does Kyrie get traded before training camp? Raise your hand if you think yes. Okay.
Bye,
there we
Kyrie.
go. Bye-bye, Kyrie. Alex Hampl with our trade machine, the Hypotheticals. We appreciate your time and all these creative trades. You made a lot of Spurs fans very happy today.
All right, great. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, turning to the NFL, training camps are opening all over the country this week. Before our own Peter King hits the road, he stopped by our studio yesterday. NFL training camps are underway. Peter King of the MMQB is here. Peter, what training camp storyline do you have your eye on this season?
Maggie, mostly, can anybody beat New England? I mean, New England has been fortified this offseason. They had very good free agency haul, I think, especially at the running back position. They have a very good tight end group now with Gronkowski being back and Dwayne Allen being added from Indianapolis. So, I mean, I think everybody looks at New England now as, even though they got a 40-year-old quarterback, or a quarterback who's going to be 40, you know, I think everybody looks at them and says, is it possible they're better than they were last year? And I think they might be better than they were last year.
Is this Tom Brady's best team?
I think you'd have to ask yourself that. You'd have to ask that question once we find out if they can rush the passer. Because last year, I think they were plagued at times without being really stout on that defensive front all the time. And so I think if they do well enough rushing the passer, we're going to look at them and we're going to say that this could be their best team. Now, I totally agree with the people who say, let's really not start talking about 19-0. Because I think there are just too many little things that can happen during the course of the season. But again, you know, if you said to me, look at this team, compare it to 2007, you know, the 18-0, then 18-1 team, I'm not sure. I would say that they have a chance to be that good.
As you're standing here, this point, very early on, training camp's just underway, are they your Super Bowl favorite?
No question. I don't see how you don't pick them. I mean, if you don't pick the New England Patriots, I think one of the things that you would have to say to yourself is, I think Brady's going to get hurt. Because, and look, Bill Polian got excoriated for this when he said it on ESPN, but he said, hey, you know, the Patriots almost lost the Super Bowl. I'm not talking about them like they're going to win the next 3 Super Bowls. And everybody said, oh, Polian's ripping the Patriots. He's just being realistic. Bill Polian basically was telling the truth about this team, which is that in the middle of the third quarter, they're down 25 points in the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you might not be talking about one of the greatest teams ever. You're talking about, hey, let's dismantle the Patriots. So, Maggie, I'll just say this. Things very often in December look a lot different than they looked in August. And that's why I don't think it's very easy to say in any way, say with certainty anything that's going to happen. But I will say this. I think before the end of this year, it could be this year that the best 4 teams in football all reside in the AFC. New England, Oakland, Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I really like Tennessee a lot. I like them a lot.
Wow.
And plus, I think one of the things we're going to see, if you could imagine the best 4 teams being in the AFC, I mean, to me, then we're talking about maybe a couple of the best playoff games, even better than the Super Bowl, are the 2 games New England has to play to get to the Super Bowl. So I think that's going to be one of the fun parts of this year.
I just have to follow up. Besides Mariota, what makes you so bullish on the Titans? Is it the offensive line? What is it?
They've got, right now, the best set of bookend tackles in the NFL. Taylor Lewan, Jake Conklin. They have a very good running game. They've got a better receiving group than they had, 5th pick in the draft, Corey Davis. And I think everybody always says, oh, they got nobody on defense. To me, they've got one of the best defensive linemen at any position in Jarrell Casey that people really don't know yet. And Maggie, last year, Morgan and Arakpo, the 2 twin pass rushers, combined for 19 sacks. And so I just think that they're going to be good enough on defense. They're not Houston on defense. I think they're going to be good enough on defense, and I think they're going to be explosive on offense.
Let me ask you about this training camp storyline, and that is Andrew Luck. He's going to start the season on the PUP list, still recovering from shoulder surgery. What kind of season do you forecast for Andrew Luck?
I think this is really an important season for him, Maggie, for a couple of reasons. You look at his last couple of years, and it's just been okay. And the reason I think it's just been okay is that he really hasn't been whole for so much of that time. And to my way of thinking, I think that Jimmy Irsay, his owner, really, I think, put a little bit of pressure on Andrew Luck coming into this year by saying that their offensive line is really good. And Howard Mudd, the former Colts offensive line coach, is out there telling Jimmy Irsay, hey, you have everybody you need with this team. And Maggie, they basically fired the old general manager, Ryan Grigson, because they got the quarterback beat up too much. Basically the same offensive line, and now they're saying how great it is. So to me, I'm a little skeptical, and I really think that Luck is still going to be under siege there. And so I think he'd better be healthy because at the start of the season, because I think he's going to get beat up a little bit this year.
Well, that wasn't the only topics that we discussed with Peter King. We're going to be rolling out more of our training camp previews with Peter throughout the rest of the week. We're going to be checking in with him on Thursday from where else? Dallas Cowboys training camp. Robin, it's been a fun one. Thanks so much. Thank you for watching SI Now. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and you can stick with SI.com for all the latest news and headlines, and follow us on Twitter, will you? At SI Now Live. You won't regret it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Don't fight Kyrie if you see him, LeBron.